Oh. Oh. Om Bhurbhuvaswaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Diyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sairam.
Sairam, everybody. Yeah, thank you so much for joining in to everyone. We have this is an amazing team of volunteers here, right? All of whom have dedicated their time for this activity to try and jump into a most chaotic pandemic that we're all in the midst of, right? And we all felt that a session like this would be most helpful. Just for the information of our counselors, I'm just going to take a couple of minutes. I know our volunteers have seen this so many times that if I was to present this to them in person, they would probably beat me up. But nevertheless, I think just by way of giving people a quick insight into what we are doing, we'll just have a quick overview of it. Just give me a moment. Yeah, please let me know once you're able to see my screen. Yeah, so in terms of the current situation, I think yeah, I think it's going. Yeah, so in terms of the current situation, right? I think a lot of us have been witnessing these difficult scenes with people struggling for a lot of basic amenities, even from last year, where things like the migrant seva were very beneficial, and however this year it's come to a very health related thing where we are seeing people dying all around us, and with all our best interests, right, as we continue to kind of enable people to get help around each of these areas, right, whether it is plasma or hospital beds, oxygen support, or food and medicine. Our doctors are, of course, very actively trying to help people with teleconsulting. And there are also a lot of teams, trying to focus their energies on counseling patients, right? I think it's also important for us to remember that information is crucial. So our efforts are on trying to provide the right information to people and empower them to be able to make the right decision quickly. So this has been kind of our prime focus of all the helplines that the teams are working on. And in terms of, right, these are the quick overview of the different helplines we have today. Also glad to let you all know that, very soon we'll be having another 2 or 3 coming in, probably this week itself. And all of these efforts, right, are led by multiple silent volunteers, Sai students and Sai devotees, doing it so efficiently and quietly to the point where I think it's been humbling to see, how Swami is able to bring a lot of people together, and the cause has kind of, brought in everybody onto one platform. So in this context, right, I think there are a lot of different things that we are trying to do. Sometimes, trying to see how we can get hospital beds for patients. But invariably, I think we've been struggling with the fact that it's not been the easiest of things to do because supply is in such shortage, right? And we keep getting requests for, say, things as basic as oxygen. And people call into the helpline, and within a few minutes, right, we get to another call saying, it's an emergency, please help out. We called you 1 hour back or half an hour back. The SpO2 has now dipped from, say, an 85 to a 75 and so on. And while we continue our search for oxygen, sometimes we've seen patients literally pass away before our eyes by the time we could complete the effort. So, these kinds of things, unfortunately, right, we're at a time where our best efforts may not be able to save lives. And how do we continue to stay motivated and continue to do our very best? I mean, I think it's a great opportunity to practice this Nishkamya Karya, right? Swami used to say Karma Yoga. It's literally like that without thinking of the results. So I think that's where our counselors today would, I think, give us a lot of useful inputs. And with that, I just request Sister Sandhya to kind of do a quick introduction of our counselors here, and we'll take the session from there. Also, one request is that you could have as many questions addressed. That would be amazing.
Sairam brother, actually Shalini will be giving the introduction to both the speakers.
Okay, yeah, Sister Shalini, please, thank you.
Sairam brother, Sairam everybody. Nirmala Didi and Neelu are part of an SOS group which was started more than a year ago, where we realized that many of our own alumni, Anantapur girls, are having so many issues, and so we thought this would be just a beginning. And Swami has seen to it that somehow we have been functioning despite the lockdown. And when one of our girls in the US was working with your group in the back end, she told us, you know what, the volunteers themselves are facing so many, it's so difficult, as you said, to see things happening in front of your eyes. You feel helpless, and so many other emotional problems come up. So why can't we, our SOS girls, do something about it? And that is how it started, and you were so positive and so eager to let us work as part of your group. So we thank you for that. Nirmala Didi is based in the US, I mean in Singapore, and she has been doing a lot of counseling work for the last several years. And Neelu also has been involved in this, and they've been a great help for the SOS group as well. And they were the first ones to volunteer and say, yes, we would love to be a part of this. So I present Nirmala Didi and Neelu to you.
Sairam, everyone. First of all, I just want to take this opportunity to say, thank you for doing this work. It's really like what you said, Brother Vinod. It's very, very humbling to see how silently everybody is doing so much work. And just last few weeks, I was looking at all the work and thinking, so much work is going on, and what can I do? And then suddenly Shalini asked in the last few days, can we do something for the volunteers? And we said, yes, that this is something that is needed. So our plan today is to first, with Sister Neelu, talk to you all about what is going on, and then give you a framework that you can adapt and use for starting your work and then ending the work as well. It's sort of, I would like to liken it to how the doctors wear the PPE and then go in to do their work and then they remove it, sort of like that. So that may be able to help you as well. I am been working with people using energy healing and other coaching and other methods. And I've been working for many years with people who are going through very difficult times. So I'm hoping that whatever we are sharing along with Neelu would be something that will be useful to you all. Over to you, Neelu.
Thank you, Nirmala Didi. Sairam, everyone. Just that morning when Salinidhi's message came on our group saying that why don't we help the frontline volunteers, helpline volunteers that our alumni and Sai devotees have started. I didn't believe it, because just that morning I was in front of Swami's altar.
Sorry, sister. Sorry, you've just gone on mute. You'll just have to unmute. Sorry.
Was it right from the beginning?
No. Just the last couple of words. Sorry.
Okay. So just that morning, I had completed, I run a small school, so I had completed the school on 30th of April, and I had started feeling that I'm just nicely sitting in my safe home where so many people are having so much difficulties and I'm not able to do anything. Swami, please, I want to do something. That morning I had said that prayer in the altar, and I saw Shalinidhi's message. So I said, yes, Shalinidhi, I'm free and I would like to be of some help somewhere, because we feel so helpless, can't go out, can't really do anything. So we feel so grateful. Personally also, I feel so grateful that I have received this opportunity. And I feel grateful that we have a group where we belong and together we can do something. And having said that, what we want to start with is to understand a little bit the nature of your work. We know that it's frontline or the helpline, telephone helpline volunteers, but we want to understand what kind of calls are those calls, really the medical emergencies, like we don't have oxygen, we don't have bed, or do you also get calls from family members or the patients requiring emotional support? if somebody could answer in few lines, it will just give us a better understanding of what it is that we are looking at and what kind of support might be required.
Saram sister, this is Dinesh here. I am working as a volunteer with the Delhi COVID helpline. So I am also on the front end taking calls on the helpline. So my experience is, I may differ from others, but majorly we are receiving calls from patients or their attender or family members seeking help for medical emergencies, for hospital bed and oxygen. I feel most of the calls we received are on these lines. As much as possible, counseling for them, no calls we have received as of yet. And of course, most of the callers are very emotional. They are very panicked. And of course, as a caller in the front end, we also sometimes tend to get pressurized and also emotional with their feelings.
Okay. Anybody else receiving emotional support calls, or mostly it is for medical emergencies?
Sairam, this is Jyotsna. I agree with Dinesh that most of them are for emergency medical calls, and they are emotional at that moment, but I have not received a call for counseling till now yet. I must have taken around 30-40 calls by now. Okay.
Sairam, Sarojini here. I handle the oxygen unit. Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, we handle the oxygen unit, but these are called just for the request for the resources. But then when we look at the SpO2 levels, that is the oxygen levels, and also the age of the patient and the comorbidities, we do ask them, how is the patient? Is the patient at home or at hospital? And we do suggest to them that they may need to go in for hospitalization if required. And also when there is no supply of oxygen, we suggest to them to do the prone positioning, and a little bit of guidance goes in. Like there was a case where the father was very indifferent, though they had called. So again at night, once again, I called and checked if they could make arrangements for the hospital, the oxygen. The grandson picked it up and said, I will arrange things and do it. So sometimes with whether we are not just providing resources or not, we are handling human beings. So a little bit of interaction does happen, though it is not per se a request for counseling.
Yes, Sairam, Neelu sister, I'm part Parikshit Menon from the Bangalore Beds team. So in the last 1 week to 10 days, right, when we say we are providing the resources, so there are positive as well as kind of very emotionally disturbing experiences for our volunteers, right? So on one hand, for example, yesterday for SpO2 level of 38, we were able to arrange an emergency oxygen ambulance and get them to the hospital. However, at the hospital, there were issues and he couldn't get a bed. Now, so what is happening is there are positive things. There are things where we are able to pull it off and give resources. So that's a happy thing, right? At the same time, there are instances where we feel helpless, right? And the attender of the patient's family is crying on the phone. So many of our volunteers are not used to such kind of interactions, right? Very, very heavy, emotionally disturbing kind of interactions, and they are caught unawares. So the request here would be to see how to handle such kind of tricky situations, not hurt yourself, at the same time how to soothe somebody else sitting on the other side of the fence and really troubled in a kind of a golden hour situation. Yeah, Saira.
Sir, I would just like to add to what Pratikshit brother has said. Of course, we do have callers who are very emotional, but we also face some callers who are extremely rude. And of course, that was the most difficult to deal with. How much ever we try to convince them, they are like, I mean, why are you running the helpline when you cannot help us? I want oxygen immediately, just get it delivered. So they were such rude callers as well. Thank you.
Sairam, I'm Kaveri Kumar. Just to add up to what Mr. Dinesh brother told, first, when I take a call, first I make it clear to the attender that I am not from BBMP. We cannot provide immediate, like instant beds or oxygen or plasma, anything. We are just trying to help you out. And have you got the correct numbers? Have you got the command center numbers? Because 108, 1912, how many ever number of times you call, you might not able to get it. So the zonal numbers have you got? That is how it is better to start with. If we just say from 1-to-1 COVID, naturally the attenders will say we are from BBMP, they get excited, and when we say no, we cannot arrange, then it becomes difficult for the attenders. So if you say, I mean, it's just a small suggestion. That's how I start my conversation with.
We also do the same thing, sister. Yeah, thank you for that.
Sairam, I just wanted to highlight to you what we are planning for today. First is, I know it's been a very, very pressure situation for everybody facing this, maybe for the first time in your life. So what Sister Neelu will be doing is actually going through and asking you to jot down the emotions that's coming up for you. The best way of being able to manage an emotional pressure cooker situation is to first address the emotions that we are facing in a situation. And then we will take you through a framework that you can use before you start your session and after you end your session. I'm not sure how you are organizing yourself. Are you doing it in like shifts of hours? Do you have fixed schedules or times that you will be operating the helpline? So I'm assuming that, let's say that you are working for 2 hours or 3 hours at a time. What do you do before and what do you do after? So that is the plan for today. I see that Brother Samir has raised his hands. Is there something you would like to say, Brother Samir? May I also suggest that if you can get some paper or notebook and some writing material so that you can take down some of these things, we can take you through the framework as well. So those will be something that will be useful to you. Over to you, Neelu.
Yes, as Nirmala Didi has pointed out, many a times when obviously from what we hear, it is a very anxious situation. You're dealing with a very heightened emotions, and it becomes like a anxiety pressure cooker. So under those circumstances, it is extremely important for us to be aware which part of us is getting triggered, what emotions within us is surfacing. Like just now, one brother had mentioned that the people are extremely rude, and sometimes they cannot understand that we are also working under very helpless situations. But I know from my own experience that when you are in severe pain, somehow the ethics and the manners, you cannot think of it. But what is coming from outside is always triggering something within us. So it's extremely important for us to be aware of what is being triggered within us, because only if we are able to look within ourselves, then we'll be able to look out and be able to give a balanced view of what is happening around. So I think what Nirmala Didi is asking us at that time, I don't know if everybody will have time in that emergency situation to be able to write down or note down. But Nirmala Didi's the framework that Nirmala Didi is going to discuss later has the possibilities of doing it after. That's why we also wanted to know how have you structured yourself or organized yourself? Is it are the phone calls are coming to a particular group and then it's getting transferred, or is it going directly to the volunteers in the particular area? And are there number of hours in which everybody is allocated to each one, or everybody is supposed to be on call at any time of the day? If you could.
So I'll take that, sister. And just a very quick one here is that for all the volunteers who are taking calls, there are the numbers get routed to their mobile, but then the numbers are all masked, which means that, the person who's making the call essentially calls the helpline, but receives a call from someone else. So, the call receiver is one of our volunteers. So they're not going to be able to know where the call has specifically gone, to whom. The numbers are remaining masked. And likewise, when the volunteer makes an outgoing call, even then they call into the helpline and make a call. So again, their numbers are masked. So to that extent, none of the patients or the attenders who are calling in know the numbers of the volunteers who are taking calls.
Okay.
And in terms of the shift part again, so we've left it flexible to people actually, because we understand that situations are dynamic at home and at work for people. So which means whenever they're available, they can take calls. Whenever they're not available, they can drop and so on. But internally, yes, I think the POCs are making sure that there is no time and there is no one available. So that way people do get breaks and they can kind of do it flexibly. It's as simple as like giving a missed call to the system and you're logging in or logging off from the system.
Okay. So that is already taking care of one part of the challenge. That is, when we have these SOS calls, when we are already dealing with many things at home in our personal life, then already it's already increasing the anxiety factor. So if that is taken care of, part of the challenges issue or the challenge is addressed already. And I think, are there any more challenges? This we wanted to keep it as a little longer discussion, to open up a little bit more to discuss what kind of other challenges or the emotions that are coming up. How difficult is it to handle our own emotions that time? If anybody else has anything more to discuss on it, we'll spend another 5 minutes on this and then we will go to the framework that Nirmala Didi is going to share with us.
Sister, my name is Samir and I'm from the backend team. Our job is basically to pick up the updates provided by the front end team, the call volunteers, and record it on a database, on an Excel sheet. When we read the content, as disturbing news of all sorts, that is equally disturbing. And it really requires a person with a lot of mental strength to cope with it. So though we are at the back end and just picking up the data and putting it into the database, it's equally shattering. Saira.
Sairam, this is Aarti from Delhi COVID helpline team. I take the requests from the attendants for different requirements. So the only thing that I noticed is usually a sense of urgency that they put across. By when we will get a response to this, things like that. But in our initial sessions with the seniors, they have guided us on that you just try to get back to them, tell them that you're not the person, you'll be passing the information on to the team. And we have put up an escalation mechanism and a tracking mechanism in place where we see at least in next 1 hour, 1.5 hours, some action has been taken on it. We would at least know that something can be done about it or cannot be done about it, but at least that much clear. So the escalation team does put up, red flags if and when something gets delayed or something. So we try to be on top of it. That is the tracking team who is doing that bit. Yeah. But yes, the sense of urgency is always put across. Most of the calls that I took, usually people have been asking, by when can you get back to us on that? So we try to give them the requisite information, and that's where we ended.
And would just like to add here, sister, that the backend team is doing an amazing job from not just easing things for other volunteers. They're actually now at a point where some of the helplines, we don't need to even take the incoming calls. So the data is captured directly, and then we call them only with solutions for help rather than listening to their problem every time. So their problems are auto filled in by them, and then it comes into the WhatsApp of all the entire group, and volunteers essentially sign up saying, I will pick up this request and so on, and then they try to fulfill it and get back to the attender with those requests trying to be fulfilled. Yeah.
Okay, this is Shekar from Delhi. Minute, please.
Yes, go ahead, brother.
Yeah. Om Shri Sai Ram. See, let me give you some good news. So far you've been listening to the calls. I mean to say people saying that yes, it's very genuinely problematic thing to listen overwhelmingly disturbing news from the people and to absorb it day in day out, not in day in day out, every minute. Well, from my side, I had experienced a very good thing. Like I'm at the back end, we provide oxygen and we give a call back after receiving the front end call by the front end team. We give actually the resources to them, and once I call back to the attendant and give the information, after 4-5 hours, it happened in many cases. After 4-5 hours, they messaged me back saying that you saved my golden hour. Thank you so much. And at times a simple thank you. At times a non-devotee saying Sai Ram. And at night, I passed on the information at 9:30 in the night. And 2 o'clock, my phone buzzes and I see that WhatsApp message. And with that happiness, I can't even sleep for the whole night. I mean to say, the sadness that overwhelms you during the day, at the same time when you receive a patient is saved or a patient's time is saved or something good happened to the patient, that also doesn't let you sleep. It is as simple as that. But yes, it is really amazing. Thank you, Sai Ram.
Ma'am, may I speak?
Yes, please.
So I am with the Bangalore team. One thing I have noticed personally where I would like to improve, like somebody mentioned about the sense of urgency. Obviously when we are calling the attendee, they are always have a sense of urgency. And so I want to tell them quickly because I know they're very impatient. But what I find that
Go ahead, Jyotsna.
So sorry, I think I muted myself. So what I said, when I'm speaking to the attendee and they are in a sense of urgency, so I'm also trying to hurry up and give them the information. And in the process, I feel that my tone is not right because it might not sound empathetic. So is there a way where we can work on that and improve on that, where the tone is in control? Because if I see that they are in a hurry, I also speak out in a hurry, and it doesn't come out as somebody who's empathizing or to calm them down. So this is my personal request. If you could help us, how do we speak?
Sure. Brother Sambrama?
I have a quick, yes.
Yes,
I'm
go
Sambrama.
ahead. Sambrama, go ahead.
I'm in the Bangalore COVID helpline, but I'm working from US. So it's a little bit of a tricky situation because we are far away and it's just, it's a little bit difficult to handle. But what I would really like to understand is how to stay detached, because on some of the calls that I was working, when I check back the status and they say the patient has passed away or something like that, then you feel this feeling of like, whether are we making a difference? Is it, are we, that kind of feeling that I go through. So I think like last few days I've been trying to be detached from, because I also see positive news that someone got a bed. So how to move on from that case, because we did the best we could, and then move on to the next one.
Just to add on to what Jyotsna said, and I think this is a need for everybody, and this is what we are planning, is that I want to give you an example of water. Water always flows from a higher level to a lower level. So when we are, so if we are in a pressure situation, we are going to, and us, the people who are calling us are also in a pressure situation, then their pressure is going to come to us because their level is higher than ours. But if we can lift ourselves up to a higher level, and that's what the framework is going to be about. If we can lift ourselves to a higher level before we start the calls, then they will feel our calm rather than we feel their pressure. So that's the idea behind what we are going to suggest. But before we do that, before we proceed with all of that, we want to first acknowledge all the emotions that you are feeling right now, whether it's a positive one or a negative one. And because we have almost 100 people right now, I think it's easiest if we are able to just type it into the chat box, the emotions, not the situations, not anything else, but the emotions. Emotions need to be acknowledged before we can release it. So let's just type out all the emotions that you are feeling, whether it's positive or negative. Anxiety, helplessness, helplessness, happy, gratitude, anger, frustration, pain, grateful. Any others? Hopeful, frustration, encouraging, mixed feelings. Yeah. Sadness, fear, compassion, suffocating, confused, desperate, extreme happiness, extreme sadness, depressed, empathy. Yes. Anxious, helpless, anxious, supportive. I think you've done a fabulous job of creating this supportive framework so you can help each other. Guilt about not doing enough, waiting for some good news. Hope, positive thinking, voice control, guilty. Neelu, is there anything you want to add on?
Before we start the thing, no, Didi?
Yes.
Yes. Just want to bring all of our attention to one point, that all the professionals in a who work in a helping profession, that is, could be doctors, nurses, people working in old age homes, counselors, therapists, special educators, all these professions who are working with helping others. It's very, very easy, and it's commonly seen that compassion fatigue and burnout is very, very common. And in our training itself, there is a training involved in how to help us not go into those health hazards and what to do for self-care. So Nirmala Didi today is bringing to us some small tools and exercises which we can do for self-care, because the emotions that we read here are very, very potent. And if we do not take self-care more seriously, it can burn us out. So, and we will then be the part of a problem rather than being part of the solution. So, as one sister said, how do we continue to support? And to be able to continue to support, we have to really be part of the solution, which means then we have to take care of ourselves. That also comes first. So Sister Nirmala is going to take us through a small exercise, which will, I think, if we practice every day, it will be of some help in dealing with a lot of these emotions. Because if all of us really notice, all these emotions are being triggered from what is outside, but it's actually coming, welling up from what is inside us. So if we can reflect back, given by the framework that Nirmala Didi is going to give us, if we can reflect back after every work, then I think slowly we will be able to get there. And maybe we can have these meetings regularly when we come together to share each other's. So Nirmala Didi.
Yeah, thank you, Neelu. For now, I want you to take Sairam. Yes, Abhita.
Yes, this is Abhita.
Yes.
Sorry, I came late. Actually, I'm in hospital with my daughter for taking COVID test again.
Right.
So it's what to say for the customer. It's difficult. when we are taking care of the patients, அது வந்து அவங்களுக்கு கிடைக்காத போது it's really கொஞ்சம் கஷ்டமா இருக்கு.
Right.
But we have to go through all this. So I'm trying my level best to do. And for the past 2 days, as husband and my daughter is at home, I couldn't participate as much as I'm willing. But still, I'm doing the work. So kindly excuse me, I'm leaving the meeting as I'm in hospital. So I will do my best. Anything, any emergency, you can call or you can message me, ma. Thank you so much.
Take care,
Kindly
Abhita.
excuse me for leaving the meeting.
Take care, Abhita. Yeah.
Okay, ma.
Saira.
Sorry.
So firstly, I want you all to just close your eyes, relax into your chair wherever you are seated, and bring all these different emotions that you are experiencing. You can visualize yourself writing it on a piece of paper, all the different emotions that you're feeling. And then if you can start imagining a small homakundam in front of you with a beautiful fire that's lit up. And you're taking these little pieces of paper with all your emotions, grief, helplessness, anxiety, fear, every single emotion that you're feeling, happiness, joy, all of these, and offer all these emotions into the fire. This is the universal fire. And it will take all these emotions and transmute it for the welfare of the world. No emotion is negative. It just needs to be acknowledged first and foremost. As you release all these emotions into the homakundam, I invite you to keep your hands, take your hands and put it in your heart area. And I'm going to take you through a simple 3-step system that HeartMath has developed to help us release our anxiety. And you can use this method at any time, any number of times. So with your hands on your heart area, bring your focus and awareness to the region of your heart. This is an opportunity for you to release the thinking and just focus on the heart. And as you focus on your heart, start breathing into your heart. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. To this heart focus and heart breathing, we add the third element, which is heart feeling. Find one thing, any one thing that you are grateful for right now. And bring that feeling of gratitude into your heart. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. I would like to see some faces if it's possible to turn on the video. How does that feel for you right now? Anybody? You can just type it in the chat. Yeah. So this is a simple tool. It's got 3 steps and you can use it any number of times. And it's a wonderful thing. You can use it in the worst of situations, in the happiest of situations. It's a 3-step process: heart focus, heart breathing, heart feeling. And gratitude is the highest frequency of all the emotions that we can feel. And this is something that we would be wonderful to use. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen right now and take you through the 3-step process. Can you all see this?
Yes, Nirmala.
Okay. So I know that all of us have been thrown into this and we have no experience, no preparation for this. But really what Swami tells us is, show me your availability and I'll give you the ability. And if we are given this opportunity to do this work, then trust and know for sure that Swami is giving us the ability. He's not going to put us in a situation that we cannot handle. He's preparing us, he's with us, he's taking us through this. So that's all we need to know, that I'm not trained, I can't handle this. Just let all those thoughts go, because we have all the qualifications that we need. So now I'm prepared this framework into a 3-step process. And I would like to look at it as preparing ourselves for the work. So my suggestion would be to organize your time, your volunteering time, into slots rather than go in and out, in and out, in and out, because that's a heavy toll on us. So if you can organize yourself and go through this framework, then it's gentler on ourselves and it allows us to go through this preparation process. It's just like a doctor putting on the PPE before going into the hospital to serve the patients. It is something very, very similar. And the first thing is, how do we see ourselves and how do we see others? That is the S. And for this, I want to take you all through this. I hope you can see this. This is a stackable dolls. And I love this because I'm assuming all of us know about Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, the 5 koshas that Swami talks about. So these are representing the 5 koshas. And the smallest kosha is the Annamaya Kosha. This is our physical body. This is our physical body with our brain, with our nervous system. And then we have the energy body, the Pranamaya Kosha. Then we have the Manomaya Kosha, which is our emotions. Then we have our Vijnanamaya Kosha, which is our subconscious mind, our belief systems. And finally, we have the Anandamaya Kosha. So how are we seeing ourselves? Are we seeing ourselves as Annamaya Kosha? Or are we seeing ourselves as Anandamaya Kosha? How we see ourselves decides how we are going to respond. And it takes that effort. So when we see ourselves as Anandamaya Kosha, the spiritual body taking a human experience rather than a human body experiencing spirituality, then it becomes easier for us to shift into this way of thinking. And how we see ourselves also decides how we see the others. Are we seeing the others as a human being struggling? Or are we seeing them as a spiritual being going through a challenging time? And this is a very, very important thing, because our brain believes what we think, and then it will respond accordingly. So if I think I am this, then the brain is going to say, yeah, you have limited resources for you. But if I think I'm this, then much more resources become available to me. So shifting the way we see ourselves and we see others is the first step to preparing ourselves for this. The next one is an action plan. And this, I think, is a very, very practical thing that we need to look at. Simple things like, have I had food? Have I taken water? When I'm going through a nervous situation, the brain is working too hard, the nervous system is burning a lot of calories. I need a lot of fuel, I need carbs, I need glucose to operate, and I need water. Am I denying myself all these things? When I deny myself all these things, then my body is not fit, is not able to be at its fittest to do the service that I need to do. So just organizing my life, my schedule in such a way that I'm able to prepare myself with the right food, with the right drinks. If I need to pass messages to my family, can I do all of that? Write notes, leave notes, whatever I need to, and then go into my room or desk, wherever I'm taking this call. Another practical thing, am I in a location where I have the best internet? What kind of environment is around me? Can I have some privacy, a curtain, a place, so that I am able to focus completely on my work rather than looking at my other things? Especially if I have children that I am responsible for, then ensuring that they are occupied, all their needs are met, and then going on to do this work. When we do a multitasking, then it becomes very difficult. We are operating in a particular state. So the idea is, when we see ourselves in this way, we are lifting our state up. And then if we have to immediately dip down to say, hey, have you eaten? There's food here, there's drinks here for you. Don't run around, don't talk all loudly. We are bringing our state down. So if we want to maintain this state, then I have to first organize myself very, very practically so that I can remain in that state before I start my work. Another thing is that if I'm dealing with numbers, phone numbers, resources, how am I organizing myself? Is there a laptop there? Do I need to take a printout and keep it ready? Do I need to have reminders about what I should be feeling, what I should be thinking? Just simple reminders. You can do this, Swami is with you. Whatever are those reminders, keep it somewhere very, very practically and easily accessible as a system. Do I have my pens and notepads all ready? Is my phone charged? Very practical things that we need to look at, so that we are not shifting from a bigger picture to a smaller picture. And that takes a toll on the brain and the nervous system. So finding that action plan is very, very important, and then organizing all these things. In the first cases, you may want to prepare a checklist, make sure, is this ready, tick, 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 and then you start, or it may be in your brain. But for me, sometimes having everything accessible in a place, especially when I'm fatigued physically, emotionally, is a very good thing. It's similar to traveling 24 hours, 36 hours by plane. We want to prepare a system in place so that at the end of my 36-hour travel, I know exactly where my passport is. I know exactly where my visa is, my hotel accommodation sheets are. So it's something very similar. So organize yourself in a very practical way so that these things are easily doable. So that's the action plan. And the third thing is setting an intention. And this intention could be an intention for yourself, could be an intention for the other person, could be an affirmation, could be a prayer. And what I would like you to do is to grab your paper and pen and set that for yourself right now. We'll spend a few minutes, set that for yourself. What is your intention going to be? It could be a prayer, it could be a thought, it could be an affirmation. Set that intention down. And let me know when you're done. We'll set aside 2 to 3 minutes to do this.
Can we write in the chat box?
You can write in the chat box. That will be good if you can, if you would like to share. Yes.
You want me to read it out for you, Nirmala?
Yes, Shalini, that would be helpful.
Okay.
Take your time. Consult the Sai within for your intention.
My thought is, Swami may bless the patient with the relief and health he needs. Swami may grant him recovery. Peace be upon all. To serve the needy with prayers. Visualizing Swami's hands working in every case.
And if it helps you, have a particular photo of Swami or something very inspiring, keep that in your notebook. And that will be part of your preparation process as well.
Swami, please keep me healthy so I can cater to any need or service that you send my way anytime.
Yeah.
Samasta loka sukhino bhavantu.
Now to these words, I want you to add visualization. So you can add sounds, you can add scenes, you can add smells, you can bring in from your own experience, videos, your own personal experiences with Swami. Bring all that in so that this intention is not just words, but is a living, breathing experience for you. And go through that experience.
Swami, make me always available and fulfill my dharma. Give me the strength to serve better. Want to be positive and pray for humanity. Whatever I do, hope it is good for me and everyone around me.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Om reverberating around everywhere.
Everywhere. Yeah.
Day end prayer. Thank you for giving the opportunity.
Yeah.
My intention is to do my best in whatever opportunity is in front of me.
Yeah.
As a service from one form or role to another in this creation of Swami.
Yeah.
Swami gave me the thought of showing gratitude for everything, and I want to see your happiness always.
Yeah. And so this is something that I would invite even those who are working in the back end to prepare themselves with. So whatever is that, using technology to help people, it's still bringing in all these elements into your seva. I noticed somebody mentioned that they couldn't see the koshas clearly. Can you all see this now?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so this is like this. So this is the Anandamaya kosha, and then the Vijnanamaya kosha. Then you have the Manomaya kosha, it goes in. Then you have the Pranamaya kosha. And finally you have the Annamaya kosha. And then each of these has their own heads and they operate that way. So the idea is that it is all one inside the other. So at the end, do we want to operate from here, which is Annamaya kosha? Do I want to operate from here, which is my Manomaya kosha, the third one, or do I want to operate from my Anandamaya kosha? So I have so much more available to me. When I'm doing my sessions with my clients, I always like to connect myself with Swami and then let Swami's energy flow into me, and then through me, through my words, through my actions, thoughts. And that's an easier way to do than to say that whenever we are praying and saying, May my words be helpful. May my actions be helpful. Yes, but it is not coming from me physically. It's coming, flowing into me through Swami's energy and then flowing out. So for my part, I just need to make myself a hollow channel. Swami always talks about hollow channel. I need to make myself a hollow channel. What is that hollow channel that I need to make myself with? So releasing my fears, setting aside my nervous system, repatterning my nervous system with that heart focus, heart breathing, heart feeling, so that my nervous system is ready to act as a channel. So at each stage, when I observe what are the things that are preventing that higher energy from flowing through me, I identify it and then release that. I'm giving you a perfect example, perfect situation. It may not happen all the time. And I would like you to not blame yourself or beat yourself up because it's not happening, because you are not calm, because you got affected. That's perfectly all right. We are moving in that direction. Have the highest ideal and then work towards it little by little, little by little. So if I know people are starting to leave, another few minutes before we end. So I want to share what happens. So when you prepare yourself in this way, the first 10 minutes before you start your schedule, you will find that you are at a much higher level, just like the water, you're at a much higher level. So when you are speaking, rather than you being affected by other people's tension, other people's desperation, they will be influenced by your calm, your presence, even if you are not aware of it. And at that point, you don't have to say, no, my tone was not good, I'm not operating in this. All those judgment calls, just release that, because you have got into a train and the train will take you through. So you don't have to adjust all the little things at that point in time, because everything will be working through you. So just set that intention. And the first few days, it may take you much longer to get into that frame of mind, to see yourself in a particular way, prepare the action plan, and then set the intention. But as you keep doing over and over and over, the neural pathways are all being set. It'll become faster and faster and faster. So initially, set aside 10 minutes, 15 minutes to do this preparation. So once you're done with this, your actual session, whatever time you are setting aside, then let me share with you another screen. So what we will be doing is, after the work, then we have a short time to reflect. And this reflection will be of two kinds. One is a simple practical reflection that you need to take note of as an action item before your next session, or to feedback to the group. Look, these numbers need to be updated, or these more people need to be informed, somebody else needs to take over. So practical things that you need to note down while you are still in that frame of mind. And the other will be a philosophical reflection, whatever is coming to you. So keep a notebook aside and write all these thoughts down, reflect on it. And the next one would be allowing. And I think this is the most important part before you end a session, after you end a session, is allowing your emotions to surface. This, the example I can give is, if we are cooking in the kitchen and the dishes are coming, if we are able to clean the dishes as and when they are coming, then we are able to finish the cleaning process much faster. But if we let the dishes stack up for days on end on the sink, then finally when we get to clean the dishes, it's going to take forever. Similarly, with our emotions, it's a good idea to address them as and when, and not allowing our emotions to surface, not acknowledging that I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling helpless, I'm feeling desperate. There's nothing wrong in feeling any of these things. that, oh, I'm a Sai student, I'm a Sai devotee, I should not be feeling this. People are doing so much, I'm not able to do this. These are all emotions that are coming up. Acknowledge it and then go through the same process like what I went through, visualizing a Homa Kundam and offering all those emotions. Say, I felt all these emotions in this hour, in this 2 hours. Today, I felt all these emotions. I'm offering all these over to you, Swami. You take care. And when you're able to do that, then the next thing that happens is Arpanam. I couldn't find an English word for that. Arpanam is Nishkama Karma, what Brother Vinod talked about, is I am operating as one small cog, one small tiny instrument in this whole network. So my role is not to heal people. My role is not to, ensure that they are happy. My role is to just take care of how I present myself and do this job. My role is not to save humanity from pain, save people from pain. My role is to just work on myself so that Swami works through me. And that is only possible if I'm able to offer everything that I'm doing to Swami. It may be almost impossible to do this Arpanam while you're working because the mind is totally focused on the work. So set aside a few minutes after each session to do this. And then you will find that you have offered all the emotions into the homam, and then you are offering all the efforts. Our responsibility is not the result. Our responsibility is only the effort. So that effort is also being offered to Swami. And when we are able to do that, then the last one is Ram. So Sai Ram. After you do this, simple thing is to drink a little bit of water and to move, physically move, get up, move around. What that does is it shifts the energy. So you're not in that energy of sadness or helplessness or desperation. You are moving the energy in the body, and then the energy will allow you to shift. So just try this process and then let me know. We will be here any number of times, as many times as we are needed to support you through this. Once again, I want to thank you for doing such a wonderful seva. Any thoughts, anything that you want to share about this framework? Do share. Yes.
Can you just share the previous slide?
Yes. So I just framed it up as Sai Ram. So Sai is preparing, Ram is after you have done the session.
So Nirmala Di?
Yes.
We can also look at it as like preparing is like we breathe in, that we are getting ourselves ready to take on something.
Yes.
And then after our calls, we breathe out a long breath.
Yes.
And in that breath, we release everything, all tension, all anxiety we were holding. And by movement, you also mean some intentional movement, right?
Physical movement. In fact, give it a try. If all of you can, wherever you're seated, just moving your body.
Yeah.
Taking a deep breath in, moving your body, you will find that the energy shifts. Simple chair yoga, walking around in your home, moving from one room to the other. Just physically moving will shift the energy.
Yes. So movement, and then breathing out, releasing, and mentally boxing this experience as whatever I could do for today, I have done.
Yes.
And then mentally shifting
to
what next do I have to do.
Right.
No, Nirmalati, we have to mentally shift our focus on another work at hand now.
Yes. And my suggestion would be not to focus 24/7 on this work, to find other things to focus on, because then the next time you come in, you're not drained, you're not straining yourself, and you're coming in fresh to do another round of seva. Brother Rajesh, you have something to say?
Nirmala Di, could you remove the share screen?
Yeah.
Sarah ma'am, just listening to your voice, actually it brings a lot of calmness to me personally.
Yeah.
Just one, and this is maybe it is how I am, ma'am. In your action plan, you said we need to organize, have probably a bottle of water or have a pen and a notepad or organize the numbers. And I am personally a very organized person. What happens to me sometimes if I don't have that bottle of water, or if even the lamp that I switch on, it doesn't work, I get disturbed then. I said,
Yes.
things are not falling in place.
Yeah.
Even before I start or during the session, or even your example of having something to eat, breakfast or some biscuit, if that doesn't happen, that actually then for me it sets that imbalance, and then I'm not able to focus. How can I countermeasure this being organized? But even if it is not organized, how do I get myself on track?
Yes.
That's one question.
Yes.
Second question, ma'am, that emotionally that I have been trying to find an answer is the sense of injustice. Right now, if you see, I feel personally there's a lot of injustice that is going on and inequality, where most of the calls that all of us receive in the helpline are people who are daily wage earners or um, people from middle class family, so on and so forth. And what we see from news also are none of the people who can afford or leadership who can afford, they are not getting affected.
Yeah.
Thankfully, good for them, in good heart. But I'm not able to address that injustice. I mean, how do I answer or how do I reconcile that injustice or inequality?
Yeah.
Those are the two questions I had.
So if we look at it and say that my role is not to clear the injustice. My role is just to do the work that I'm doing right now. That will go a long way in allowing us to manage this. And last night, actually this whole framework came to me last night. I was thinking how best to prepare it. So the acronym and everything came last night. And the one thing that came, and I had forgotten to talk about it, Swami has reminded me through your question. This is a favorite dialogue that I remember from Shirdi Ke Sai Baba. I'll tell in Hindi, for those of you, I'll translate later. The dialogue is, Srishti rachane wala, Srishti chalana bhi janta hai. So for those who don't understand in Hindi, one who has created the universe, the world, knows how to run the world. I'm just a small cog in this creation. I'm being given this role. I just do this role. And the injustice, the pain, taking away the pain, taking away all that, that is all in somebody else's hand. That is in the hands of the creator. He's giving us an opportunity to do this job, and that's all I need to look at.
Nirmala Di, could I add to this?
Yes.
For me, whenever I'm dealing with people counseling, doing their biography work and listening to some very difficult life stories in detail, I come up with images in my mind. Every situation comes up with an image that somehow the image symbolizes the situation. And when I think of COVID pandemic, the whole overwhelming aspect of it and how it's affecting everybody in the same way all over the world, to me the image that comes to my mind is of a Kurukshetra war, where just before the war, just before they blow the conch, how this vast army is standing on both the sides and then looking at each other. And if I were a bird's eye view and I'm looking down, it's just so overwhelming. It looks like, oh my God, where is it going to end? What is it going to be the outcome? It just looks so overwhelming and we feel so small and helpless.
Yes.
And then when I shift the image to the center of the stage where Krishna is talking to Arjuna, and Krishna's cosmic form, the Vishwaswarupam, and Arjuna anchored at his feet, where Krishna is saying that everything is there is a larger design to everything. You are only a medium. Then it just, that image of the soldier getting ready for the war clears up, and then I can see myself only with Swami. Okay, Swami, let thy will be done.
Yeah.
Let me only be the instrument, because the magnitude of this pandemic is so much. I feel that just hanging on to Swami's feet is the only thing that can take us through.
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Very beautifully said, Neelu. For me, another analogy that helps is especially sometimes when my clients get very bad news and they are totally shaken, they are distraught, anxious. It's very easy for us to pick that energy. And then if I pick that energy, I'm not of any use to them. They need to pick our presence rather than we pick their anxiety. And the only way that I can not pick their anxiety, even if I do pick, I can quickly use the heart focus, heart breathing and feeling to shift myself out of it. And that's a very simple tool. Once I'm able to do that, then to see that, this is the visualization I do, is that, okay, there is a Swami with me who is helping me do this work, but there is also a Swami with the person who is going through that. And that the responsibility of shifting that person is that Swami's, is not mine, is that Swami's. And through this anxiety, through this, just me being steady, they are saying, okay, this person is steady, I think I can manage this myself. And they come out of this. And yes, situations are difficult. I personally, my husband's cousin's husband passed away, and the daughter is all alone at home. Mother is in ICU. Situations like that. So at this point in time, either I can give in and say, oh, poor thing, I'm not able to do, or I can say, Swami is taking care of that girl. And when I'm able to do that, it does wonderful things to my own being. And when it does wonderful things to my own being, I am in a better situation to be that instrument that Swami needs me to be. And yes, it's perfectly all right. Do not blame yourself or beat yourself up like what brother said, that I'm not able to do this. I don't have this organized. I don't have this. Don't beat ourselves up. We are doing a fantastic job. At any point when we feel that we are not doing a good job, I just want you to acknowledge, look, compared to where I was, no preparation, I've come this far. I have done a fantastic job. I'm really proud of myself for what I have done. And from there, like a little child encouraging our own children to do better and better, we have to encourage ourselves to do better and better and say, okay, I was not able to organize my biscuits or whatever it is. I think I will spend a little bit extra time tomorrow to organize. So be very gentle and compassionate with ourselves. There's nothing that can be achieved when we are hard on ourselves.
Also, Nirmala, at the end of every day, if the entire volunteers team, if there is a system of sharing with everybody how many lives we have been able to touch positively, how many lives we have been able to save today.
I think that's good, but at the same time, we don't know, because very often, even when people are going through a difficult time, we may not even have saved a life, but just our words may have given that person the ability to manage their work, manage their burden. So it's very difficult to quantify. So never underestimate what you are doing. Even if you feel physically it looks impossible, we are making a difference. I think we need to firmly believe that.
Sorry to interrupt, Nirmala and
yes, Shalini.
Neelu. We've overshot our marker 15 minutes.
Yes.
if we can just close it with that.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Yes, I understand. Just give me a minute. Abhinaya, you have a question?
Sairam sister, the
Yeah.
thing is, what I think from the session is, here the result is, we are not looking for a result, right?
Yes. Yes.
So we are just trying to do our best.
Yes.
Am I correct?
Yes. Perfect.
Yeah. So when we are not looking for a result, there is no point we should get disturbed, whatever the result might be. Because as you said, Swami is the ultimate result giver. So it is
Yes.
in his hand, right?
Yeah.
We are just his instruments.
Yeah. But the beautiful thing is when we don't focus on the results come much better.
Mm-hmm.
And they come much better because we have allowed ourselves to be a hollow instrument. And so Swami starts working through us. So you may even find that you are speaking things which you never thought you would be speaking to that person, but that is what that person needed to hear at that point. And that is because we have allowed Swami to speak through us at that point. So when we focus just on our effort, focusing on our own thought process, how we are present to that job, results will be much better actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you, sister.
like Shalini said, if one other thing, if there's anybody who's going through a very difficult situation and would like to speak personally to anybody, I think some of us can spend time talking to them one-on-one if that is necessary. Brother Vinod, is that all right?
Absolutely, sister. Yeah, thank you so much for staying available for that. I think, yeah.
Yeah. I think if is it all right if we close now or what?
Yeah, so we I think first of all like to really express our gratitude to all of you. It's been a beautiful reminder of many things we've learned in Parthi and otherwise, but I think sometimes it's important to get these reminders. So I think you've made it very practical, and just to let you all know, right, I think it's important for us to also unwind sometime during the day, like you pointed out, right? So to do some other stuff. I can tell you that here we are living with the children, in the children's home. So every evening we make it a point to play at least half an hour of volleyball just to unwind. Otherwise it becomes very difficult.
Correct.
And thank you for, I think, all your valuable inputs. In fact, some of the volunteers have also noted it down and are going to share it with those who haven't, in addition to, of course, the recording being available.
Yeah.
And this has been a fantastic session. So thanks to Sister Nirmala, Sister Neelu, I think Shalini Madam, and of course Sandhya Sister, I think, for kind of, suggesting this, and would encourage anyone who wants to continue to, to reach out to them. We'll share the contact details once Nirmala Didi, you share it across with us.
Yeah. So what I thought I'll do is I'll just take you through a quick guided visualization. It's sort of like a relaxing thing, Brother Vinod. Later on, you can just edit out this audio and share it with everybody so they can use it whenever they want.
Yeah, sure, sister. Yeah.
Okay.
And also for closure, if you could do it, we could close with Samasta Loka Sukhino also after that. Yeah.
Yes, we can do that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we will just take you through a quick guided visualization and then end with Samasta Loka. So I invite you all to close your eyes. Relax your body. Start with the head. Relax every part of the head, the jaw, the neck, the shoulders, the hands. Loosen the rib cage muscles, the chest, the abdomen, the back, the hips, the thighs, the calf muscles, and the feet. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in beautiful energy from Swami and breathe out all the fatigue, all the tiredness. Breathe in and breathe out. Bring your hands to your heart and bring the focus to your heart. The heart, the spiritual heart, is a beautiful presence of Swami within ourselves, and is going to give us all the energy that we need to do this work. Next, focus on your breathing, where you breathe in and out, focusing on the heart. Breathe in and out. And finally, shift to a heart feeling, a feeling of gratitude for giving us this opportunity to be of service, like the little squirrels that helped Rama build the bridge. And from the space of being one with our spiritual heart, let us pray for peace in this world. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की
Jai.
Thank you so much, sisters. Truly appreciate this, and we'll stay connected. Thank you so much.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.
Thank you.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.
Thank
Sai
you.
Ram.
Thank you.
Sai Ram.
Thank you.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.
Loved your sessions, Ma.
Thank you.
It was so good. Really loved it. Enjoyed every bit of it and could see Sai in you. Thank you so much.
Sai Ram. Thank you. Brother Ravi Shankar, you have something to say?
Yes, Sairam sister, it was wonderful listening to both you and Neelu sister. Thanks a lot for the inputs. Finally, as you were concluding, you were saying about how we can avoid picking up the negative or the distracting news we get in wantingly or unwantingly, unwittingly.
Yes.
So can you just give some more clarity? Like somebody calls us because he is disturbed of what's going on in the place where he's like, he's in a typical big apartment where
Yes.
everything is so good. They're all having a very luxurious lifestyle, and in fact, very pious people around, but still he sees them dying and he's so overwhelmed. And he wants to share it across with people like us, so he calls.
Yes.
So at that point of time, how do you think it would be good to react?
Yeah. So when we prepare ourselves in seeing ourselves, so spend the time before preparing ourselves, seeing ourselves as the bigger essence and seeing them as the bigger essence, then whatever flows through it, it'll be natural. It'll come automatically what they need to hear. And sometimes words are not needed. I'm very sorry you're going through this. Is just listening to them